Welcome to the Premier League and La Liga game week preview. It's your boy Gustavo as usual. Sit down, relax, and enjoy. So, these are the fixtures of the game week 2 of the Premier League. Yes, it starts off as Chelsea take on West Ham away. Manchester City will host Tottenham. Bournemouth against Wolves. Brentford will be playing against Aston Villa. Burnley hosts Sunderland. Arsenal will take on Leeds. Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. Everton versus Brighton. Fulham will take on Manchester United at Craven Cottage. Newcastle United will be hosting Liverpool. We go into the top 6 clubs, their fixtures, what we think they should do, their corrections they have to do just to get the results for the upcoming week. So let's go into the camp of Chelsea. Yes, with Chelsea, I think the way they played last week, I think their fans weren't so impressed. Not just the fans, we the neutrals as well. We were expecting a far better Chelsea from what we saw last week, and I think they are looking to improve on that performance. Yes, so going into this game against West Ham, I think Chelsea should go with the same lineup I saw against Crystal Palace, because in this game, Chelsea aren't going to go against the type of pivot, or I should say the type of a main man in the case of the Crystal Palace game. Yes, in the Crystal Palace game, they played against the likes of Mateta, who was more of a focal point, a strong one as well, tall, physical. But then in this West Ham game, I think their attackers in the form of Bowen aren't so physical. They are just quick. Yes, so I think maintaining a champion and then Chaluba in this defense is going to really help Chelsea, especially when it comes to building up from the back. Yes, when talking about building up from the back, I think West Ham won't pose so much threat to Chelsea when Chelsea is building up from the back, because losing a player like Kudus to Tottenham is a very big loss to them. And then I think this is going to be a very big plus to Chelsea, because building up from the back, there isn't a lot of threats, a lot of press from the current players that they are having. Players like Kudus are going to give you a lot of problems building up from the back. They are going to press you. They are going to try to take the ball away from you. But then their current setup lacks a kind of player like that. So I think players like Cucurella, James, Chaluba, and Echampon, all very good on the ball, is going to be a very good plus for Chelsea when building up from the back. Going into midfield, I think Chelsea has a far superior midfield as compared to West Ham. The likes of Suchek and then Ward-Prowse. I think they are going to have a very tough game against the likes of Chelsea's midfield. Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Kopama. A blend of everything. Physicality, energy, creativity. As against this team, especially looking at how they performed against Sunderland last week. Very poor performance. Yeah, so I think Chelsea are going to be a very different game for West Ham, especially in midfield and in attack as well. So I think in this game, West Ham should be wary of Chelsea's creativity, strength in midfield, sharpness up front in the likes of Pedro Neto, Joao Pedro, and then Gittins, who we didn't really enjoy last week. But then I think even without him in the game, there's the likes of Estivao, who can also pose a lot of problems for West Ham's defense. And talking about West Ham's defense, we know there's an introduction of a new face in there, and I think in Diouf, who is going to take a lot of time to adapt to this English game. Yeah, so I think on the side of Chelsea too, they should be wary of West Ham's set-piece approach. Yes, the likes of Suchek, who is very strong in the air. The likes of Ward-Prowse, who is very, very, very good when it comes to dead ball situations. Yes, so I think this game is a game to watch. Manchester City takes on Tottenham. Yes, this is going to be one of the big games of the Premier League fixtures. I think, as we all know, Manchester City have really boosted their squad in terms of attack. Yes, I think they've done very good business with the introduction of Czeki, Tijani Reinders as well, who have already showed us what they can do in the Premier League. But then I think against West Ham is going to be a different board game together, because West Ham have also strengthened their have also strengthened their squad with the likes of Kudus coming in. We saw what he can do last week. We saw he provided 2 assists to Richarlison, and I think from the way Tottenham have played, from the Super Cup against PSG and then winning against Burnley at home in the first game shows us what their intent for this season. We all saw what Tottenham did to Manchester City when they went to Etihad last season, beating them by 4-0. Yes, so this makes this game very tricky for Manchester City because they themselves haven't been in the best of form from last week. The Pep team that we know wearing into the team we saw from last season coming into this season. Yes, so I think this game is going to be more of a Thomas Frank kind of setup from Tottenham, as we all know. I think they are going to soak the pressure and then hit Manchester City on the attack with the likes of Richarlison and then Mohamed Kudus' dynamism, strength and power up front. Yes, so I think this game is going to be a very tricky one. It's going to be an early kickoff as well. So I think this game is going to be very tricky. It's going to be hard to predict. But then Manchester City, I think, have the far superior side with the likes of Erling Haaland, Tijani Reinders, Doku and the likes. Yeah, so I think this game is going to be very tricky, but then I expect Manchester City to come up top. Now, Arsenal takes on Leeds United. And I think in this game, there isn't much to be expected because Arsenal playing at home in front of their fans, especially coming up against Leeds United, who just came back into the top flight league from the championship. I think Arsenal have been very strong in defense and very solid in attack over the years, finishing second over the last three or two seasons, which makes them a very strong contender for this year's Premier League as well. Playing last week at Old Trafford, winning the vital 3 points in a very hard-fought game, I think they really deserved it. They got their early goal, they defended solidly, and then got the 3 points. Coming up against this Leeds United, I think Arsenal are going to have a relatively easy game as compared to what they did against Manchester United. They are going to control the game from start to end, as we all know, the way Arteta and his Arsenal like to play. The likes of Saka up front, Gyökeres, who didn't play to our satisfaction last week. I think he's going to be more hungrier this week, especially against a team like Leeds United. I think he would be looking to get his first Premier League goal. Yes, I think Arsenal should be worried about Leeds United's attack as well. I think Arsenal are going to have majority of the game. Leeds won't have much of the ball. But then, we all know what Leeds can do. The little that they can create with the likes of Tanaka in midfield and then the Daniel James and Nonto in attack can cause you problems any day. We all know they are going to play with a low block, but then playing with a low block when they hit you on the counter is very dangerous. How fast Daniel James is, how quick Nonto as well is. So I think Arsenal should also be wary of the threats that Leeds United pose. Fulham hosts Manchester United at Craven Cottage. Yes, this game is also going to be a very tricky one, but then everyone expects Manchester United to come up top, especially after playing so well against Arsenal last week. Yes, everyone saw how they played, but then the possession doesn't give the results. Yes, keeping the ball doesn't give the results. Just putting the ball in the back of the net is the most important thing. And then, as we all know, in the last 5 games, Manchester United have won 3 out of the last 5 against Fulham. Yes, and then Fulham also winning the 2 out of that 5. The recent one that came at Old Trafford when Fulham beat Manchester United by penalty shootouts. Yes, so I think coming into this game, everyone expects Manchester United to get a job done, but then it's not going to be an easy one. Yes, but then from the way they played, from the way they set up, from the way they build up from the back, last week, what we saw from the Arsenal game, I think Manchester United are going to have the upper hand. They were very good at building up from the back. They built from the back so easily, even against Arsenal. So coming up against this West Ham team, who pose a threat though, but then I think this is going to be a relatively easy game when it comes to building up from the back for Manchester United. They could build up from the middle, as we also saw. They could build from the side, even kicking it long, short, even if it's about kicking it to the striker. I think they have someone in the likes of a focal point in the likes of Sesko who can hold on to the ball to invite more attackers into the game. So I think Manchester United, as we all know, have this weakness of defending set pieces, and I think
Ruben Amorim and his people have to really work on this, because Fulham also pose a threat with the likes of Kevin Bassey and then Joachim Anderson, who are very strong, tall, and energetic. When it comes to set pieces, they can punish you at any day. But then with Manchester United, we know the inclusion of Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko is a very big plus to them. We saw how they performed last week. We've seen what they can do, how Cunha's ball carrying, how threatful Mbeumo can be on any day, just that they couldn't just bury the chances that they got last week against Arsenal. So, yeah, so coming into this game, I think Manchester United have to just take their chances, and I think all 3 points would be theirs. Newcastle takes on Liverpool. Yes, this game is going to be the game of the match week. As we all know, both sides pose a lot of threats, and I know this game is going to be an end-to-end one. Yes, especially on a Monday night, it's going to be an end-to-end stuff. With with Newcastle having a lot of potent people up front. Liverpool also have a very good attack, as we all know. But then in this game, I think the only problem Newcastle are going to face is their conversion rate. Yes, as we all know, since they started having problems with Isaac, they've really found it hard to convert their chances. They play really well, get up front, but then the person to convert the chance is the biggest problem right now. They deployed Gordon as the first 9 last week against Aston Villa, which I think he didn't really do a good job, because naturally that's not his position. We all know Gordon likes to play from the wings. But then in that situation, I think he was up against proper centre backs, and then he wasn't able to run the channels as expected for him. But then in this game, I think against Liverpool, especially with the likes of Frimpong going out injured, I think Newcastle should take advantage of Liverpool's fullback positions. Kekes hasn't been so good since he was signed in from Bournemouth. Frimpong also injured, so the person coming in to cover in for Frimpong won't be as strong or won't be as good as Frimpong. Yeah, so I think with how sharp Newcastle are in front of goal, I think they should take advantage of the Liverpool fullback positions. The likes of Barnes, the likes of Elanga, the likes of Gordon, they can do this job really, really well. And with how strong Newcastle's midfield is, the likes of Tonali, the likes of Gumaresh, Joelinton, very hard-working guys. So if they are really able, or if they are very compact in midfield and are able to break Liverpool's build-up, I think that's where the problem comes in. They can hit Liverpool on the attack so easily. Yes, and then another thing that I think will help Newcastle in this game is to have someone who can hold the ball very well, a Cunha kind of player, run at this Liverpool defense, because we know how vulnerable they are sometimes. And a typical example is against Bournemouth, when Semenyo scored that outrageous goal. Yes, he picked up the ball from his own half, ran at the Liverpool defense, because we know that they don't really like to come into tackles, especially Van Dijk. Yes, so having that kind of player pushing the Liverpool defense with the ball is going to be a very big plus for them. Yes, so I think that's what Newcastle can do to have a day in this match. But then when it comes to Liverpool, there's no much to talk about. We all know how good they are. We all know the kind of pose that they threat, what they can do to you on any day. Yes, the likes of Mohamed Salah, inevitable. Ekitike, we saw what he can do. The likes of Gakpo, exciting player to watch. Yes, so I think in this game, Liverpool already have the upper hand. But then they are very vulnerable at the back. And I think on any day, Newcastle can hurt them. Now, let's go to La Liga. These are the fixtures. It starts on Friday when Betis take on Alaves. Mallorca also take on Celta Vigo. That's Saturday. Atletico Madrid take on Elche. Levante will play Barcelona. Osasuna will play Valencia. Real Sociedad will host Español. Villarreal will host Girona. Real Oviedo versus Real Madrid. Atletico Bilbao coming up against Rayo Vallecano. And then Sevilla will host Getafe. Now with the La Liga, I think we should talk about Real Madrid and then Barcelona. In their games, I think these games won't be big deals for them, because they are both coming up against newly promoted sides. Barcelona coming up against Levante, going away obviously. Let's start with Barcelona. I think with the kind of squad that they have, how well they've played from last season coming into this team, this season, I don't think this game is going to be a very big deal for Barcelona. With the kind of squad they have, a blend of experience, energy, youthfulness, everything there in the team. The likes of Lamine Yamal playing so well, now having the number 10 jersey, obviously won by Leo Messi some time ago. I think this is going to be a very big boost for Lamine Yamal. Marcus Rashford also coming in as well. I think it's also going to be a very good addition for Barcelona, regardless. Yes, so this game against Levante, I think, is going to be a one-sided affair. Barcelona are going to carry the day, regardless. I don't see a way out for Levante in this game. Obviously, they are going to try to defend very well, but then the quality that Barcelona possesses is going to be beyond them. So I think Barcelona will come up top in this game. But then with Real Madrid, I think their fans weren't happy with their performance last week. Yeah, obviously, not just their fans, the neutrals as well. We didn't see the kind of game that we wanted to see. But then I think there've been some changes in the Real Madrid setup when it comes to coaching, when it comes to personnel as well in the setup. So I think it's going to take a time or two, some weeks, for them to adapt to what Alonso wants them to do. Yes, playing against Osasuna last week, it was an eyesore, to be honest, because I think even the goal they scored was questionable, because the penalty leading to that goal was I think VAR should have reviewed that very well before making the decision, but then the decision has already been made. It went through Madrid Raceway, and then Mbappe converted. But then in this game against Real Oviedo, I think they are going to be too strong for Real Oviedo regardless. With their quality that they have in attack, Vinicius, Mbappe, Brahim in midfield, Valverde, I think they are going to be too strong for Real Oviedo. So we expect Real Madrid to come up top in this game. This brings us to the end of this week's episode of the Premier League preview. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Keep sharing for proper sports content like this.